Diaspora UA welcomes you on our channel, and today we have with us our guest from New York, volunteer Herman Prostov, who is helping Ukraine to defend the freedom. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for helping Ukraine, sir.
Well, sure, absolutely, Bogdan. I appreciate it. Just one of the things I just used to live in New York. I live in Kentucky now, and I definitely appreciate that you have invited me in your channel.
Last week, you drove 8 hours to Washington, D.C. to join the meeting in front of White House to support Lend Lease activation for Ukraine. And a few days ago, you traveled also to see U.S. Congresswoman Victoria Spartz. Why do you think Lend Lease is important for Ukraine?
Well, first of all, I tried to go to in the White House. I got a little bit sick on January 1st and 15th. I cannot travel. So 29 was a really good time, and I definitely enjoyed driving and support Ukrainian people. Yesterday we just drove another 380 miles to see Victoria Spartz in Kokomo, which is not part of Indianapolis. And the reason I drove because, first of all, I feel like one of the important things to start Lend Lease is just provide Ukraine with any military weapons, any vehicle, armed vehicle, tank, drones, even helicopter. This is what Ukraine needs right now. I mean, some of them have technical difficulty to operate, like such as you need to be training. But as much as they give Ukrainian people ammunition, specifically like a heavy artillery tank, as well as like helicopter and drone, that will be definitely nice, good victory for Ukrainian army to liberate territory in Ukraine.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you help in Ukraine? Do you mind?
Well, absolutely. It's a good question to ask, and I believe, like I say, just what I'm feeling by my heart, and what I also believe it's what the right things to do. So, the reason I help Ukrainian people because, first of all, I was just love your country, and I've been traveled to your country when I was living in the Soviet Union, when I was a member of national team for canoeing, and what basically happened. During winter time, we mostly spent training in Ukraine. So I was literally traveled to Ukraine intensively. I was in Kherson living for 20 days each time. I was in canoeing, compete against Ukrainian athletes. We compete on international and national regatta in Ukraine, start from Ivano-Frankivsk, Kherson, Zhytomyr, Kiev, of course, was like several competition. And that was the reason I love your country, I love your people, and that's what I think support Ukraine is the right thing to do. That was what I felt in my heart, and I just definitely think like specifically to help with Lend Lease. And I think it's a clear victory for Ukraine, have more weapons, more ammunition, more airplanes, to fight aggressor, to fight invader, and kick out of Ukrainian territory.
Do you mind if we play your short interview for our viewers? And after that, I will ask you some more questions. Your interview with Victoria Spartz.
Well, it's not interview. What would basically, Victoria is a congresswoman elected in 2020, first time. And she's Republican, one of Ukrainian-born Republican, and she every 6 months she has town halls, meaning she meet her constituency in public areas such as library, fire department was last in Gas City. So I take opportunity, and it's actually really a right time because town meeting been scheduled almost since. For last 3 weeks, and that was the right time to go and see her in person because you can send her mail, you can send her some requests, but in person it's totally different. So this is the second time when I actually met her. And last was in August last year in Gas City, which was also her district. She served 5th district of Indiana. Basically, it was not necessarily personal, introduce herself and explain what she done so far for her constituencies. And then she has a couple questions, and then people ask her personal question. So we take as an opportunity to speak with her after all this official answering question have been finished. And we came with three people. It's not only me travel to see her, it was two other Ukrainian ladies, Natalia and Victoria, another Victoria, and they volunteered to drive yesterday. And we ask a question. We have all the signs, such as like this one. That's like
yeah, great. We saw it, and it's great.
So this was definitely
Activate Lend Lease now.
Right. That was like this American flag we have, and we have Ukrainian flag too. So we came and asked what's happened with Lend Lease, because she was only a Republican, was in the White House in May 9 just for signing the Ukrainian Lend Lease deal in White House. And I thought was the really right person to ask this question, to see her in person, because she was actually somebody who's been in the beginning of the Lend Lease deal. And what I asked her, why Lend Lease has not been released, how we can extend a Lend Lease if it's going to be expired on August this year, and what would be if any help we can get help from Kevin McCarthy. And the reason I mentioned Kevin, because what would basically we have excitement time when actually somebody starts to clean house, Congress, and introduce proper democracy procedure. So I asked her if any help we can get from Kevin McCarthy to put pressure on Joe Biden, who obviously doesn't want to Lend Lease to release, or just kind of like act, it's not as he should be. And that's what reason in what I asked Victoria Spartz yesterday.
Do you mind if we play your short interview for our viewers?
Sure.
From Google, the Ukrainian, and you've been in May 9 with Biden signed Lend Lease, and we actually came here to ask you what happened with Lend Lease, why Lend Lease has not been actually activated, and can we just extend it Lend Lease because it's actually going to be expired on August, and instead giving money, we can just use military. It's already been made. It doesn't create any budget deficit. Why it's released, and how can we help Kevin to promote this release?
Maybe put some kind of a task force look at the thing, but ultimately we can pass the law.
Okay.
But the administration, the person decides not to enforce the laws and going to do it. So this is how the separation of power. We give an opportunity to administration to do something. But if Biden administration doesn't want to do something, unfortunately, they don't want to protect our border, we cannot force them. The only way how we can force it, if we pass the budget, we'll give them money next time. But unfortunately, Congress isn't able to pass budget. And then has continuous resolution, so we completely abandon our power. I hate to say that Congress subrogated its power to executive branch and acting stupid. So we'll have to stay dealing them. So we're actually going to put maybe, I actually didn't talk about that, but I will put like a task force on budget, the task force to deal with this budget. And I actually said, I'm going to help with it. I have like so many task forces already promised to help, so. But I will help because I understand finances very well. And we're going to do that and start looking at that. But that's what the reality is. People like, I hate myself, okay? When we go and I constantly have to get into the fight with Biden and say, you have to do this, you have to do this. And sometimes, honestly, the only fight I can go is go like on that CNN or let him listen because he doesn't even want to listen to us. And it's a frustration we have. So he just doesn't want to do some things because some things are better. We have better accountability, better oversight, better things. And speed of things happening, people are doing it, but he's not doing it. And he's not doing it. I don't want to speculate, but I believe there are a lot of different reasons. But he's not doing a lot of things, and we'll try to do it. Maybe put task force now together, start looking into this issue too. That's the only way we can do it. At least now, being in the majority, we have ability to put some. We have subpoena powers. We can bring them in committees and stuff like that.
So, is there any chance Kevin can press this issue more strongly.
We'll try to look at that. That's what I was talking to him.
And can we work with you?
Yes.
Right.
So what was her take on Lend Lease situations right now?
Well, that was a little bit more interesting. Well, what she implied in conversation, what concerned me is she's not necessarily say, oh, we can press Biden as much as we can. And she says something, oh, if Biden doesn't want to release a Lend Lease, it's almost like little option we have. But that was a little bit concerned me. And that was just like, I don't necessarily think it's just her opinion was a little bit different than our opinion or Ukrainian people opinions, and it's have to be just much easier to release and start or initiate. And she said, oh, if Biden doesn't want to see his priority, and that's what I disagree with her. And that was kind of concerned me because it's just like position, it's not strong enough, it's not forceful enough. And she mentioned, like I say, she mentioned about the task force, do a couple things, and that's what she wants to engage because she's not going to be around the re-election in next term, and that's what she wants to focus.
I watched the video, and she said she's gonna help. Did she say something specific or just in general?
Well, she mostly says in general. Yes, she wants to participate. She wants to work on a Lend Lease, but she didn't say how. Mm-hmm. And like I say, the reason we also, it's another answer for you. I think that will help us to understand how we can actually bring this issue, if not with her, but maybe with Kevin McCarthy. Because I think he has more power as a new elected speaker, and I believe that was definitely something we hope so. Victoria helped, but she didn't say how she's going to try to create new committee, review release, or she didn't say something. Mm-hmm. She says she might be participated. But I didn't got a clear idea how. And that's my intake from her answer and for our travel yesterday. It's still definitely we got some help, but we still need to push her almost every day to remind what a Lend Lease needs to be released. And that's what my take from a visit yesterday.
Before we go to another question, I would like to remind our viewers we are holding meetings in support for Lend Lease, and next one will be held on February 12, 1 p.m. in front of the White House, Washington, D.C. We started from January 1st and continue these meetings and pickets to remind White House that Ukraine is not getting enough help despite they release all these packages. So what was your impression? Did Victoria Spartz mention anything about our meetings, or did you tell her?
Ukrainian American patriots staying in front of house, it definitely actions itself. I haven't got impressions, and she's extremely informed what's going on right in front of my house. Is constant meetings every day, or we have in 29, we're going to have in 12 of every Sunday almost. And I got impressions, and she might know, but it's not in her primary focus because first of all, town hall meetings mostly done for voters who actually live in this specific 5th district.
Regional.
Right, regional. She focused on what the need for local residents. And that would, as far as meetings on White House and as far as Lend Lease, she mentioned during her speech or answer some questions, and obviously, there is some concerns. Maybe a lot of money goes over Ukraine because it needs to be controlled. Make sure the money actually been delivered properly without any corruption and any type of, let's say, wasted. And that's what she actually says during her town hall meeting. I'm not sure how much she knows about what's going on in White House, and I didn't tell her because we have a relatively short time because it's almost 20 people staying behind us, and I haven't just have chance to tell here. I'll be frank with you.
Do you think the Lend Lease is the only way to help Ukraine win quickly? So far, we saw just packages, but we know that from those packages, Ukraine getting only 10 to 20%. Everything else goes somewhere else, not for Ukraine.
Right. Bogdan, it's actually excellent question. I think I'm positive, first of all, not only because it's a Lend-Lease makes sure weapons and deliver and make more secure transaction. Means there is no corruption on the weaponry. You cannot just literally, there is no money attached. First of all, second of all, I mean, what's more important also, it's the value of weapons. And we've been talking about several people, and included Andrei Illarionov. Gary Tabak also explained that this is one of the best way. There is some different channel. There is 5 or 6 programs to help Ukraine, but I think scale and shape and value, what might be released to Ukrainian speak itself. Lend Lease, it's a way to help in big scale, like we have a person by name Alexei Aristovich says it's a big value. So I believe that Lend Lease is one of the most important vehicle to help Ukraine. There is some like financial aids because it's more important to keep Ukrainian economy on floor, and because obviously soldiers and all military people have to get paid for their duties and defending country. Economy have to be sustainable and been keeping flow by some money from wherever currency, European currency or United States currency, and convert into local currency. But more important, of course, it's a heavy weaponry, tank, helicopters, airplanes, which is now it's look like to me obviously magical weapons like Wunderwaffe we call HIMARS, which is almost decimate every single attempt to Russian army to even think about attack Ukraine. And that's what Ukrainian people need. And that's what kind of my answer. So first of all, yes, other programs help, but like I say, we're talking about Illarionov. I give good sense how much Lend Lease in World War II been released for only for 2.5 months. Current value was $200 billion was released. President Roosevelt signed and been released, but now we have at least 10 a month. It's no single bullet been actually sent to Ukraine by Lend Lease program. So I think it's a Lend Lease, it's a right program, but unfortunately it's not been actually executed, and that's a problem. That's why we're standing and we have to remind.
What's your personal opinion? How can Lend Lease be activated?
Well, actually, yes, it's actually, well, first of all, thanks again for asking this question. Of course, my personal opinion is my personal opinion. And that was what I've been, my opinion formed listening, let's say, for last several months, all this discussion from Maria Maksakova, from Illarionov, Gary Tabak, and all these people, like, and also listening to you. So I got educated opinion. In my opinion, I think we have to, and what excites me now, because what's before happened, we cannot make, it's already in the past. What excites me, that we elect the right speaker. And maybe somebody don't like this Republican speaker in it's second person, most important person in the United States government in power. So what excites me is then he able to press this issue more formally before it's never been done. So my personal opinion, we have to press till it's a release going to be released, a Lend Lease going to be released. And that's my personal opinion. We cannot just be casual, like even our action help, but the action right in front of White House, it helped. but it's not as much as we have to deal with people who can, let's say, most important people like Kevin McCarthy now. And he, I think if he's going to be motivated, and the reason he might be motivated, it's also another reason, because he wants to cut budget. And he don't want to get like another $2 billion or $3 billion go to as the money. And I think we have like a opportunity to say, well, this option going to be sent Lend Lease, sent weaponry sitting in Arizona, which is also like with Sierra Army Depot, which has like 1,000 tank, heavy artillery, heavy weapons sitting in the dust, and that was going to be an option. It already been paid off. And it already been actually specifically paid by me and you as a United States citizen, and that's going to be pretty much option, a better option to do this. And this is how I think should be happen. We have to form opinion from one side. We have to form a normal citizen opinion, but also we have to use power inside Washington, D.C. to make this happen. And I think two forces can combine together and obviously have some valuable or resolute results. And what I want to also prevent then we run out of time, we need to extend Lend Lease. And this is another things we have to concentrate. We have to go ahead and introduce some article in Congress or lobby our local congressmen and congresswomen to extend Lend Lease, because we're running out of time, literally. That was my point of view. So that was a good question, and I hope I answer your question as much as I is more it's as much as can be understandable.
Yes, I think diaspora, Ukrainian diaspora, and all people of free will should continue our meeting in support of the Lend Lease. And next one will be held on February 12 at 1 p.m. in front of the White House, Washington, D.C. So I am using this opportunity, inviting everyone who can come and join us. I think also we should, as you mentioned, we should concentrate and try to make strategy with Congress. And thank you, Victoria Spartz, that she support in Ukraine. She's been in Ukraine, I think, maybe 8 times. Nobody else from Western politics came to Ukraine so many times. And I think
right.
it tells a lot.
Right. No, absolutely. She definitely extremely involved, and especially her statement on her website, and in particular back to April, May, when she actually kind of like makes statements. And but yes, she traveled a few times. She's been in Ukraine, in Bucha, and she's been in several cities, visited, and she definitely can speak a native language with people. She understands everything, and she really done great job doing this. It's the only few probably high-ranking elected official, I call it elected official, that she does really a good job. My feeling that during these 2 town hall meetings, I was actually visit here last August, and this just recently yesterday, then during her speech, she usually not concentrate on Ukrainian matter, because people who vote for her, more for them and more important is what's happened locally. And that's what I just want to let you know. And she addressed this issue, especially in last August, and she traveled to Ukraine. She saw this stuff through her eyes, and she definitely formed an opinion. And she definitely, it should be probably a little bit more actively, but this is what I got impression. What was my, if you ask me this time, opinion, what she should be a little bit more proactive. But it's just my opinion.
Yes, and we know that Lend Lease probably should be addressed separately, and she is elected in United States, so naturally she is defending the interest of whoever elect her, American citizen. But also Lend Lease, I think, would help United States budget, because United States actually has the weapons concentrated in large quantities, and the United States wouldn't spend that much money if they gave this previous generation even weapons. It's already made. Instead of asking President Biden asking Congress packages of money, and taxpayers actually losing this money. It could be used for something inside. Yeah. So I think any congressman should be interested in reviewing this Lend Lease, and maybe we can talk and if we can arrange some short interview with Victoria Spartz, maybe she could tell more about this. If we just concentrate on issue Ukraine and US, it will benefit for both countries, and a lot of people dying now, civilians, city destroyed, only because there is not enough weapons. I think it will benefit for both countries.
Right, absolutely, Bogdan. Definitely. First of all, I want to make sure that people in diaspora, it's not only Victoria Spartz needs to be addressed. What I've been thinking when we arrived on yesterday, and I thought everybody can, let's say, Jim Jordan, it's just like a state next to in our state, which Kentucky or Indiana, because Indiana and Kentucky, just like they just stuck on each other. People have to go to Jim Jordan, it's Ohio. Every single red state now, wherever who live in Ukrainian live in what I ask for, or every Ukrainian live in different states, even like from Midwest on East Coast, Pacific coast, they should go to Congress. Congresswoman and says, where's the release? Where's Lend Lease? And that should be not only Victoria Spartz, because she's Ukrainian. Sure. And, right. It should be every city, every single state have to be Ukrainian diaspora have to go to and ask, where's the Lend Lease? We'll pay taxpayer money and ask what's going on and press. If we're not going to be you have to be responsible. What it's been signed already. It's already on the paper, and it has to be started as soon as possible. It's already 10 months, and that was one thing. And I also want to make sure that what I have experienced, like even like a meeting with in town hall with Victoria Spartz, and go to every single, even grocery. When I try to, like last week, I sent to Ukraine some money, and lady who took my wire transfer, she said, we support Ukraine. We pray for them, for Ukraine. We pray for all these losses. It's a lot of support from American Ukraine, and that should be used. Use means in take advantage in normal. It's a more appropriate term. It take advantage in the like whole people in the United States support Ukraine, and that should be transferred into law, into action, and that would it's right. It's not something like people don't want to hear about. It's like for example, what's happening in southern border. People just try to ditch head in the sand and say, "Oh, it's not happening." But a lot of the United States citizens know it's happening, and Ukrainian people need weapons, more ammunition, more tank, and that we have to use this type of synergy or this type of specifically time to take advantage.
Definitely, and I just wanted to clarify. this addressing thing. We have international team. In this team, Andrei Larionov, Gary Tabach, Andrei Pidvalny, Maria Maksakova, Boris Pinkus, Oleg Pritul, and many more. We trying and help Ukraine as much as we can, of course. We build a website, lendleaseforukraine.com, where our viewers or anybody who can help you, who wants to help Ukraine, can go there and can see the sample of letter to senator or a congressman, and use the link below on a page, which can find senator or congressman in your area using just zip code, and you can copy and paste this letter to your senator or congressman to ask them where's the Lend Lease, how we can activate it. And maybe if a lot of people start writing letter, maybe it will be more visible in a public space in media, because right now, frankly, nobody talks about this much in the United States and big media platform. Do you think it would help if we start?
Well, absolutely. Yes, it's actually to have this type of central point of document or contact names. I saw that it was extremely crucial, extremely helpful to have, and everybody should be probably done their own proactive job, not only like let's say myself or a few people who stay in front of White House. I was surprised. I was stunned, like young ladies, like almost like even youngest my son and daughter, they were 20s. They just stay next to shoulder by shoulder with me, texting and have good time. But they have their own poster says like activate Lend Lease, and that definitely it's only few individual. I was stunned because in Louisville we have at least. In our chart for Ukrainian chart has like 96 candidates with people who regularly go to produce some food. We have food drive. We have some events where we actually celebrate victory of Kherson. But few people who actually take action, and that would have to be become more massive, more kind of widespread. Movement to help Ukraine defeat, I call this the Russians or Nazi, and that what should be done. And you're right, this is a document extremely helpful. Name of senator or congressman, extremely helpful, and that should be start like it's more bigger scale, not necessarily only few.
Definitely. Is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers and listeners?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, because it's coming Valentine's Day, I want to.
Wow, that's great.
So then, Ukrainian people doesn't not only need weapons but also need love, and it's like extremely like difficult time. They need hug, they need love, and that would my personal kind of like things what probably want to say Ukraine. And also we want to also I've been watching all this since February 24th. I cannot even sleep, I cannot even do anything. I watch all this broadcast some like obviously Aristovich and Fagan but and also all of them, like, of course, I mean, it's one of the person who motivate us, and me personally also, Maria Maksakova was extremely helpful, and that was people have to watch and kind of like, because there is true people, true patriots, true believers in Ukraine, and we have, I mean, I'm not part of them, but there is some this team, international team. And that's what I want to, but nobody say, few only says experience for Finland war. And the Ukrainians should be also think about like little small country like Finland. In this is Finland war against like another it's Soviet Union in 1939, and they defeat this. What's more encourages for Ukrainians, and it's a small country. I'm not saying Ukraine small country. I want to say example from history where it's like determination, national can go ahead and fought like big bully and defeat them. And that's what the example should be. Every Ukrainian take from Finland with determination, people who has like a really strong will to defeat this Nazi, defeat this aggression, and liberate. And that what should be also my personal kind of take and wish to Ukrainians, and they're not alone. There's a lot of good heart people helping Ukraine, and just literally without me, it's just motivate, go to drive like 800 or 600 miles, or like and help Ukrainian people stand with them shoulder by shoulders. And also, I want to also emphasize that Ukrainian also write something on a commentary for all this podcast with this Tabak, with Marie Maksakova. Then Ukrainians should be start extremely, especially I write to Aristovich, and Ukrainians should be forge some joint venture in Poland, in Latvia or Estonia to produce a weaponry, and that what they need in the future, and that would also need to be done. And I said, even like in Odessa, there is some kind of underground area where you actually can start to build something if you want, afraid it's going to be kind of shelling or that build some production weaponry, heavy artillery, tanking, etc. So they have to be not only depends of help from West, but also build their own weaponry. And Ukraine was an excellent manufacturer, so that's what definitely need to be also kind of addressed as this urgent.
Definitely. And as far as I heard rumors that Ukraine already started doing this, but they can't advertise much, obviously. So hopefully it will be soon will be enough weapons to defend the Ukraine, and Ukraine shouldn't ask anyone to send them weapons. But we remember, not too many Americans remember, about Budapest Memorandum, where Ukraine used to be the third biggest nuclear arsenal, and three countries, United States, Great Britain, and Russia, said, you just give you a nuclear weapon, destroy, and we will protect you in case you have any problem. It was 25 years ago, something like that, not too long time ago. So nobody remembers that. It was kind of promise, not a legal solid document, but still it was a gentleman's war. And we see Boris Johnson, he was the first who put his foot down and said, we're going to help Ukraine as much as we can. He came to Kyiv, and after that, he was a leader who encouraged other countries to help Ukraine defend their freedom. But United States, unfortunately, I have different impression, as many Ukrainians also more careful and not as much as they promised they delivered, I think. Right. So Ukraine actually been promised to get help in case there will be threat for freedom. It's not just Ukraine asking something that, without any reason, I think. Am I correct?
Right. No, Bogdan, it's definitely, and it's extremely important topic. You just brought it. It was actually a completely whole block of issues. It's for Budapest referendum. What my opinion, you're right, it should be guarantors who actually act and help Ukraine and that was actually failure. I'm talking about failure as far as they not been done from day one when actually Ukraine need from February 24th. And that was kind of actually failure. What you write, then I love Boris Johnson. I love his charisma. I love his style. Even he doesn't have care, like really, it's just extremely charismatic guy who actually in Ukraine happy to have Boris Johnson. And they name straight for Boris Johnson. And he takes this action, he takes courage and try to remind that it definitely needs to be activated and done full speed, not just like kind of like sitting in the back. And obviously this Macron virus we're talking about, if you know, that he said, oh, let's just not make this idiot uncomfortable or this stuff like it. And that have to be just completely brought in full speed help on Ukraine because it was this country who guarantors. And I don't want to kind of create like extremely bad reaction or like a hellstorm or like a big tornado opinions. And I think Ukraine should be return like a nuclear weaponry. And even after defeat, I have no doubt that Ukraine will be win this war. It's a matter of time. It's unfortunately a lot of people have to sacrifice, and but Ukraine should have back nuclear weapons, and this is the Reagan administration peaceful strength. And for have to have, and only prevent a future invasion, because obviously this like monster Russia is not going to anywhere unless it's destroying somehow like a fellow of different parts, which is also a possible scenario outcome from this war. But Ukraine should have back weaponry, a nuclear weapon, and prevent even any think about to invade Ukraine in the first year. And that is my opinion. But if you ask my opinion, this is my opinion.
I agree. To be honest with you, there's nothing else that can protect Ukraine unless Ukraine has strong army and weapons. And unfortunately, we still have to ask President Biden on our meeting. Our next meeting in support for Lend Lease will be held on February 12, 1 p.m. in front of the White House in Washington, D.C., Miami, maybe other city. So I'm inviting everyone who wants to help Ukraine to come there, and we'll thank American people for all help being sent to Ukraine. We really appreciate it, but also we need Lend Lease for Ukraine to defend the freedom. And I appreciate you, sir, and thank you for all you do to help Ukraine, and thank you for spending your time with us. And I think maybe we'll have our conversation later on again. If you don't
absolutely. No, I cannot even express how much I appreciate it. And actually, you ask my opinion, and I have no whatsoever time. Anytime, I will definitely take this opportunity, and a lot of things I can just express. And you don't have to thank me, because I'm doing for my for Ukrainian. I'm doing for my heart, and I think the only things that I wish is some. I know, in fact, like some Ukrainians who live here in my area should be also kind of be a little bit more active in this case. And that would, like I say, Bogdan, I appreciate it as an EU. Give me opportunity, and I use this opportunity in the future. Absolutely. So he says
you send in love to Ukraine, to Ukrainian
right,
people.
To Ukraine, right. So, right.
Thank
love
you.
To Ukraine.
That's a great message.
Okay.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, Bogdan. God bless you, and God bless the United States. Thank you.
God bless America. You watch Diaspora UA channel. Please share this video with your friends, and it will help also to spread the words and defend Ukrainians' freedom. Thank you. God bless all of you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.